I mean, as the home and the hearth, and that is how most people know her, I think. Is that what you would work with her for? Or are there other reasons for calling upon her? Does she have other skills that you'd work with her for?
She has a lot of skills, but I will say that for me, one of the things that drives my sort of choice in gods to write about is, what do I see going on in the world right now? And I think about what deity might be really helpful. And I was writing this, or was thinking about writing this, at the beginning of 2023. And I was just about to teach my first in-person witch camp in 4 years because the pandemic had shut everything down. And I was curious and slightly worried how a community was going to come back together after so much had happened. How could you rekindle that fire of community? So for me, Hestia was on my mind, thinking about my friend and my mentor. And so she, to me, is community and hearth. And how do we build something that is sustainable, that is something that supports everyone, and that can continue to support people long beyond lifespans? Like, it's something that is built for lasting, for the collective. It's something that supports a group versus just the individual. To me, that is her importance. Is she involved in other things? Yes. And I think that it's part of community. So she's also, she'll bless weddings. We'll see things about that. We'll see her when folks are mourning. And we'll see her actually called upon and sort of referenced at the beginning of a ritual, any kind of ritual. The outline that I've found for a lot of Greek practices is that Hestia is offered to or acknowledged first before anything else. And so, again, but that's bringing everybody back to community first before doing something magical, before doing any sort of things that you would be doing in those rituals. But, sacrifice, calling for farm support, etc. So yeah, I think community and home is probably the main priority for her. And I think that also, because that encompasses so much, she's pretty versatile too. There's a lot that happens in community that could have a little extra support to it, and that could have a little magical counsel, or maybe a very grounded and measured energy behind it that seeks to support the collective versus just the individual.
Nice. I like that idea. Yeah, I would think community is more important now perhaps than it ever has been. I think it is one of those things we really need to rebuild, perhaps.
I think that is very true. I might say, I was sort of thinking this over in my head this morning, that Hestia might be the first example or drive toward mutual aid. And that idea of everybody bringing their own talents and resources to support the collective, but recognizing the value of the individual too. But how do we all bring our flames together to make something brighter, to make something warmer, to make something more nourishing?
We definitely need a lot more of that, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
So does she have any particular traditions? Did she have, I don't want to use the word cult, that's a weird word, isn't it? But did she have specific followers?
No, I mean, it doesn't seem to be the case. I mean, I'm sure that there are some. I'm definitely sure that I've mentioned some, but it's not the thing that she's really known for. I would say that she's more, the being who, again, shows up at all of the big events. But not really, she's not the focus. She's the one who supports them. She's the one who reminds people to come together, to bring their resources and talents, but also to bring their flame into the space. She reminds people that everyone has something to offer and that everyone has value. But in terms of, specific practices and things like that, there are some, but I think that it's more important I think in this modern context, to think about how do we bring that forward, because different time, different context. But I don't know. I see her as sort of like sitting in that room where you're having the big meeting and it's really complicated and you don't know what to do. And she just sort of nudges you and says, have you thought about this? And then it's just like an easy little nudge. It's nothing more than that. She's not like, big and bold and all of that. She's, how do we make this work? How do we serve folks? And that feels more important to me in this moment, to bring that forward.
I bet she's bought all the snacks as well.
Oh, absolutely. She's a great cook. No doubt. I imagine. I always tell, one of the things I want to tell folks is that Hestia does not mean you need to know how to cook. Just to be clear, because I don't. So.
But you know how to buy snacks, so
I
it's
do.
fine.
Yeah, you can just bring them. Store-bought is fine.
Perfect. That's kind of how I imagine her, as the one behind the scenes doing all the organizing and making sure everyone's comfortable and fed, and yeah.
Oh, she's the one who has gotten to that space early and made sure that the coffee is going, that the hot water is hot, that the tea bags are out, that the cups are clean, and that was my mentor. Like, that was what she did. And that is what she instilled in me and other folks that she supported, was this idea that all of that matters. And it's not just the flashy teaching and the rituals and things like that. It's also like, sometimes in reclaiming, we call it the sacred schlep. You sort of have to there's like the sacred moving of stuff, and like you got to move the chairs, you got to clean the floor. All of that is important too, because
someone's got to do it.
Someone's got to do it. And sometimes that is the thing that a person can do. Maybe they don't want to be the person speaking in the middle of the ritual. But what they can do is they can make sure that that maypole gets to the ritual.
Playing their part.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I think that
definitely.
Hestia is just sort of like, everybody's welcome. What can you do?